Hi everybody, this is Diane. I'm here to show you a couple of journals that I purchased. I purchased this one a few months ago from a shop called Sugar Press Studios, and I saw this one. I was looking for shabby, sometimes I just look for shabby journals lately, and just to see what they look like, what people are doing in them, because I want to create some shabby journals. I have done some, but not like grungy shabby. So somewhere down the road I want to do that, but I saw this one and I thought that's really cool, and the prices in her shop are really good. So I ordered this one. So I just got this and I thought I should show you this one too. So they're both created differently. This one has tabs, but it's like chipboard. It's flexible, attached to a piece of fabric. So that's a pretty neat binding. And then she used just these strips as little hinges, but I think that's more decorative. And then the signature is tied in instead of sewn in. There's a pretty lady here with the netting over her face, and then collages of lace and little trinkets and a little piece of paper. It's a neat linen here, and there, you can see there's sewing pattern paper underneath the tissue. I like that you can see that through it. This book has a lot of the Tim Holtz people. And look at the paperclip. That's just for fun. Doesn't have a function. She did put metal eyelets in to thread the ribbon through, but that doesn't show on the outside because then she added the hinge, the fabric. This is a collage of just different types of papers, some burlap and lace, old bingo card. I like the grungy dyeing. And there's another Tim Holtz paper doll there. I want to spend more time on the other one, so I'll kind of go through this one quickly. An old diary page from 1937. This is a game score from Yahtzee. There it is. I knew there was a game name there somewhere. Just interesting pieces. You know, there's just so much going on in each piece. So I wanted a chance to kind of look at them close up and study them. And this is an envelope, business envelope, that she put some embossed cardstock on. And then tucked this inside. It's a digital. Oh, it's an index card, a large index card. Just this little tiny collage too. A little scrap of paper, a little bit of very soft, probably vintage netting, green stamp, and a tiny scrap of a book page with a staple. Piano book and an old receipt. An old photograph. Is this a digital? I think that might be a... No, I don't know. Anyway. It's cool. It's a bunch of men on bicycles. And an old book page with lots of markings. It's in German. Glued to this from a more modern book. She has a lot of unique ephemera pieces, vintage ephemera. And I know I have a lot of that in my stash too, so I will, I'm looking forward to using it in books like these. This is a genuine old photo, I can tell that. Ladies in hats. Men on bicycles and ladies in hats. This is just a very raggedy piece of paper, wadded up, crumpled, holes in it, but it goes with the book. This is from an old book, and it's got a little chick there and an ad This is from McClure's, the Marketplace of the World. I don't know what McClure's is. This is a record sleeve. Look at the nice shape that's cut in. I think this is a copy. I like the blue color. And this is a digital of wallpaper. But this is genuine. I'm thinking what I would like to do is, I can't get this clipped back on. There we go. Is take some time in between journal projects and kind of try to replicate some of these little collages and things, especially in the book I just got. So this is a copy of a journal page, a ledger page, and she turned it into a belly band. This is an old current folded note, and this is a really cool page from a railroad company. Love that color. And this ledger page has been turned into a pocket. I believe this is an original. Nope, it's not. Looks like one. She uses unique things for her book covers too, which you know I like to do. This is just some paper stapled on. And this is a music page that has this Western Union. I think this might have been cut out of a book. It's not vintage, so I don't know if she copied it. It's on some kind of a glossy paper. And here's another photograph and an old paper. Looks like a student's writing with some notes on the back. Just a scrap of paper, vintage paper. Oh, we already looked at that. So this is a collage of dictionary images and definitions, and it's all collaged on with graph paper and this, and it's a copy. So that's what this is. It's an interesting looking tag. I like that little punch there. And then it's just got little snippets and scraps glued to it. And this little thing has a piece of yarn tied through it. This is a genuine postcard. Reward of merit. I don't know what that is. It's in French. Some kind of a ledger. This has numbers punched in it. I'll put that in later. This was just stuck in the page. There's an old card and an envelope with an attorney's information there. An attorney group. Here's that music, the piano book page. And a book about forgery, how to detect a forgery, or at least this chapter is called Forgery. I don't know what the book would be about. And this is a printable document cover. I don't know if this is Tailor-Made Journals, but I think she has one like this. So she really tattered it up, made it look like it had been stitched, and it's got holes where the stitches were. Crumpled it up, which made it look old. It's pretty cool. And there's a rusty paper clip. And then here, it's got a menu here. It's probably from a recipe book. Some recipe books, especially the old ones, had menus written out in them. This is part of an envelope. This is a little paper clip that she did. And piano music paper, another collage tag. And I like this playing card with an ad for Rust-Oleum. I just think it looks neat with that Rust-Oleum and then this clipper ship. I don't know why I like it, but I think it looks really cool. And then this was all just tucked into the pocket. Oh, this came off of something. I saw it in there when I flipped through it yesterday, and I could see it was starting to come off. I'll just stick it in there somewhere. So this is the one I just got, and there's a lot of detail in here. And it has, I'm not really sure how it is constructed. It's got fabric hinges that are then sewn together. And then this lace is glued on top of it. And there's a big, giant safety pin there. But this is just a small piece. I'll have to study it out. I'm not going to figure that out right now. But there's a 3D frame there with a Tim Holtz girl. Some collage behind her, some texture paste, a little number with a little scrap of some kind of lace, or, I mean, not lace, ribbon or silk or something. It's cool. And this is a sturdy board. So this is a whole piece of music, looks like. And then this is glued into it. And it's attached to something on the cover. There's an ID card. 1963 pocket date book. She has some vintage large index cards, and I do too. But I like that she just put them in there without having to do anything to them. And that means I can play with them. Another photograph. I love the old photographs. And this old book page. I'm not sure what went. I have to go back and look now because I took two things apart and I don't know what went where. And it doesn't really matter. I love these little paper clips. If anybody knows what they're called, it's like two kind of teardrop shapes is what it looks like. And there's Uno scorecard, and it's a little assignment probably, or just maybe it was in someone's botanical field book. Western white pine. There's a sketch here and then some information. And I'm probably putting things in the wrong places, but it's okay. This is a paper that's torn. It's a poem, I think. Aurora Lee. I think that's a stamp, maybe, or else it's printed on there. This belongs to just copy dyed shorthand paper. And a little scrap of crochet up here. I thought this was a stamp, but I think she sketched it. And some stamping on it, coloring of some type. So we have another page of that menu. And I think this is stamped, and there's another piece that goes with it, I think. I think it does. Anyway, oh, yeah, it's here. I don't know where it just came from. So it's perforated. So I think she has something to cut the perforation, because I'm pretty sure these are just stamped onto file folders, the hanging file folders. This, I don't know if that's, I think maybe it is a copy. I was going to say it's an original, but probably not. It's pretty cool, though. It's for a Charles Dickens reading. There's another playing card for Goodrich tires. Looks pretty old. And this is a copy of the front of an envelope. So she printed it and then cut out the ends and the other piece, you know, to look like an envelope. But I can open it up and write on it. I know this wasn't on the same page, in the same spread. I found it just a little further on in the book. Not sure where this goes. I don't know where it goes. Anyway, this is a cluster with some fabrics and lace and this little tag. It's actually an anaglypta wallpaper, and she stamped on it. And then here, this is just a piece of copy dyed paper with some stamping on it. So I think she took this vintage paper with typing on it and then printed this on the back of it, because it does have the holes where, oh, and she poked the holes with a pin. So I know this is printed. It's from 1927, but that's pretty cool to print it on typed paper like that. And this is a ID card for a worker. Oh, it's an excess luggage ticket. There's an envelope with all of this collage. It looks like an ID card here and a little stamp. And then this page was folded up, or no, it was glued to an envelope. And there's just, inside the envelope is just a little bit of stuff glued down for interest. There's just so much detail. I think this is a fun idea to do with the hanging file folders. Just make a little tab and put a eyelet on it. And a kid's book page used in collage. It's a little tricky to get it back in there. Vintage paper, copy dyed paper. This is embossed, but I think it came that way. It might have been one of those embossed gift bags. And there's just a little scrap of like a vintage dictionary page or something, folded over the top. A little scrap of an old ribbon. An old photo in a frame. It's a 3D frame. Some collage. So this is that ribbon that I've seen a few times. It's kind of cool. Maybe it's not vintage, but it's soft, and I've never seen anything like that to purchase. There's an envelope like the one that was in the other book. This feels like crepe paper almost. I don't think it is, but it has that kind of crinkly, wrinkled texture. So this is one of the fabric hinges, and then it looks like these papers are wrapped around that. Oh, it's in the center. That fabric is in the center. Oh, this is that paper that I thought looked like crepe paper. Maybe it is. This is a vintage telegram. Look at that. It's very, very tattered. And it's a very sad telegram, I mean. Look at that. That's so cool. And here's the telegram. 1935. It's addressed to Mrs. McMeehan, to Illinois. Virgil passed away this a.m. Be home Wednesday. Charles H. Cable. There's an old slide with some stars on it. That's pretty cool. There's another one of those Rust-Oleum cards. This is an original card. State Music Incorporated. I don't know what all the numbers mean. There are marks on some of them. But then she stamped on this side. And this is a billhead page for an electric and heating company. I guess these were in here. I better pay attention to what I'm doing. I still don't know where to put these. I'll just put them wherever I want to. All right, this one, coffee dyed paper, and this is wrapped around it. And this is from a book, and it's got one page there, folded and stapled, and then this opens, and there's one page here. That's a cute idea. And then collage on there. I think I'll just tuck this little ticket part. That's, yeah, it is a pocket because I just tucked that in there. And this is stapled to the top. It's a printable document. It's in French. It's just folded up willy-nilly. And this is a printable also in French. Washi tape. She stamped on the fabric. So there's some music paper here. This is printable. And a book page with some very thick stenciling through and embossing through a stencil. I really like that. And it's ridged. It feels like corduroy, so she must have pressed something in it to give it the ridges. Here's a beautiful specimen card made with kind of a craft cardstock. I think this is a dried flower. And a flashcard. She did some stamping on. This might be a printed flashcard, and then it's got 2 layers. I think she glued something to the back with a tab on it and a staple. It actually looks like a rusty staple. That's a die-cut butterfly. So it's 2 layers. So she cut out the solid layer out of looks like a scrap of a mixed media paper. It might be printed that way, I don't know. But then she cut out the black with the detail, and then she kind of offset it a little bit, so that's cool. And this piece here is on this fabric hinge. There is a paint swatch there. I like the stamping. This is a genuine cabinet card. The 1937 calendar that she dyed. And the background is, okay, background has dictionary page, and it has the thumb index here. And this looks like a handmade paper. So it's just like a strip of the handmade paper that goes from here to up here and then folded down. So this is a strip of handmade paper. That's cool. I like that idea. And it's not attached. It's not like glued down to be a tab. It is a tab, but it's not attached. So that's a very clever idea. This is a collage. More grungy copy dyed paper with a stamp. And this is a printable that she glued onto this paper. And it's she stamped personal and confidential. Here's another printable letter. She printed the front and the back. A die cut. I like this stamp. I've seen it several times. Well, I don't know if I've seen it yet, but I don't think we've seen it yet in this book, but I think it'll be a couple more times. But I don't think you can tell right from where you are, and with stuff on top of it. Sorry, my words, I'm struggling today. But it looks like a label, like a metal round label with holes for the eyelets. A label holder, I guess, book plate type of thing, but it's a stamp, and I really like that. So here is another example of a tab made with that green, if it's a file folder, I think that's what it is, but the green file folder with some stamping on it. This is an envelope. This envelope contains 10 assorted decals for labeling your sunburst candy jars. And all of this collage and stamping. And this actually contains decals. 10 of them. Salt, beans, candy, nuts. That is really cool. From Authentics. later. A botanical page with a piece of velvet ribbon. This is just an empty envelope that she coffee dyed. Here is a little stamped piece and a vintage price sticker. I had one very similar to this. It was yellow from one of our local stores, and I had saved it for a while, and I think I just recently used it in something. I wish I could get more of those. They're just so fun. This is attached with an eyelet. That's interesting. This obviously came from the same book, this little image. It's just a little scrap, and she just glued it there. I wouldn't have thought to do that. A stamp and a rubber stamp and a postage stamp and a little collage of fabric. Little envelope, or no, this is a matchbook. And here's another piece of that file folder. And there's some stamping in there, and she used a thick textured watercolor paper. So I can play around with that. This is a map atlas page, and it's got a little piece of paper it's not wrapped around, it's just stapled here and another one here, and a little scrap of fabric. I don't know how you staple with rusty staples. And some vintage tape or homemade vintage tape. Here's the other side of that botanical page. And this is cute. It's a picture of a statue that's missing its head. And she put this little book page in there so that the little girl's head sticks up there. It's an envelope. She glued that on top of it. And this is just a booklet. I never thought of making a booklet out of a children's book page like this. And there's a piece of that crepe paper. I hope you don't mind all the details, but this is what I wanted to show you, all the details. Here's another photograph, August of 1956. And this is just a page, a little catalog pamphlet from 1947. Christie Manson and Woods, porcelain, catalog of porcelain, objects of art and clocks, and decorative furniture. And there are lots of notes in the margins. And the paper is soft and old. So I can take snippets of this and use it in my own collages. Or I could just collage on top of this and leave it in here. Here's music paper with a die cut on it. And a little tag. Here's that stamp I was talking about. Looks like a metal label holder. Isn't that cool? I would love that stamp. And this was made with that file folder. Yep, because it's got the scoring there. This is a vintage receipt. It's got the carbon, and she stapled some stamped pieces to it, tucked it in this pocket. And then this is a genuine ledger page. Teacher's Daily Register, actually. And she tucked that in there. And then we have a book page. The Beauties of Friendship, and then it has different quotes from different famous people. And I might not have some of these pieces put where they were originally because some things just kind of fell out of the book and I didn't know where to put them. This is a coffee-dyed doily and another genuine ledger page from 1943. This is it looks like a folder that would have gone in a binder. Extension Department, the College of Swedish Massage in Chicago, Illinois. So she folded it, and it became the back cover. And I don't know what the front cover is because it's all covered with fabric. And it does have, oh, that's the pattern. I was going to say it has a line around the edge, but that is the sewing pattern that I see in there. So this is attached to this hinge piece. I'll have to figure out how it's constructed, but I like this cover. It's very unique. And then we have these two tall, I guess, I don't know if they're flashcards. There's nothing on the back, but it says Pop and Fix. But here it has a quote. And the sky went wan, and the wind came cold, and the sun rose dripping, a bucket full of gold, from Edna St. Vincent Millay. So that might be a stamp that she has, but because these do look like flashcards. And then an old postcard, an old photograph, two ladies outside of this quaint little church. And this little card, the kitchen of Governor's Palace, Williamsburg, Virginia. And I'm sure that I was there. I think you had to pay, we paid for the tour of Williamsburg, but you had to pay extra to go inside some of the buildings. And I think that was one of them. So my husband paid for me, but he didn't care. So he didn't want to pay for him. So I got to go in by myself. That was many years ago. Okay, well, I'll put that on in a bit. So what do you think about this and all of its detail? I think it's gorgeous, and I will just keep studying it, and I will... sometimes I try to replicate something that someone did in art journaling, I used to, or in anything like this, and then you kind of, you replicate it, and then you get it so that you kind of know what you want to do. And you go your own way and do your own thing with it, with the supplies that you have, because, you know, my things won't be just like these, but I can try to come as close as I can and then just take off with it. And I hope to, you know, just slowly build up a collection of these kinds of pieces that I can use in a journal when I decide to make one. I'm just going to tuck these in here. This might be where they were. I don't know. I think they must have been in there. So, yeah, I love this. I think it had something tied around it, which I'll have to find. But I love both of these journals. So Sugar Press Studio, she does have some digitals, and she has quite a few journals in her shop. So I will link her shop below, and you can go check them out. Like I said, her prices are good, and the shipping is free, at least on the ones that I bought. The shipping was free. So it's a good bargain. Thanks for watching, and I need to get back to work on my Raggedy Ann journals. So I've been doing a lot of journals that have color, like lots of color. I love color. But I keep thinking about these that are grungy and don't have a lot of color. I love them both. How many of you have such a mix of styles like me? I like so many different things. So, am I the only one? Tell me what you think. All right, so I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you're having a creative day. Bye.